So I put on this new Bollard spool on the Capstan Winch on the carriage of the Worktable sawmill. Let's just see how this moves. So currently I just rewound the saw all the way to the starting position. And now as I start cranking it, I'm sorry, the camera jiggles quite a bit here. I'll try and steady it. So as I start to crank, the rope moves over to the left-hand side. I guess that'll be your right. And now it's just a little bit of slack in there. This is one of the problems that I've got. With a little bit of slack in the rope, which there's a fair bit here, it'll just slip. As soon as I apply a little tension, away we go. So one of the challenges associated with this mechanism is keeping this rope in tension. That may mean a spring of some sort, but it doesn't have to be a lot of tension. That's one of the things about a capstan winch, is that on the free side, not the load side, but on the free side, it's just a little bit of tension applied to provide the friction that's necessary on the spool. And rewinding, what you'll see is the rope now making its way back over to the other side of the bollard. And when it gets to the far side, we start to get a little bit of that slipping again. But then it spools just kind of nicely. So in terms of the capstan winch working, yeah, I'm happy that that actually works the way that it is supposed to. At least close enough for my purposes. I do have a roller here to keep the rope on that side when it's under load. In other words, cutting into the wood. And I don't really need a roller. I have this take-up temporary roller on this end. Will keep the rope on this far side when we're returning, to let it wind up against this flange. So that's the latest. I'm now debating whether we want to pursue a spring mechanism or if I should try going the threaded rod route. What I did discover is with the ratchet that I was thinking about using, this thing spins really fast. Far faster than I would want this to spin. That would just send this thing off the rails in a hurry. Might be good enough for a threaded rod. But yeah, a few more experiments to conduct. Anyways, thought I'd like to show you how I'm doing so far. So continuing with our Worktable sawmill automation, I'm going to try the threaded rod approach, do some experiments here. And to that end, I have printed 3 parts that are going to let me walk together one side of this mechanism. So this, here's an end, holds a captured bearing, and this will slip onto the end rail here. Bit of a snug fit. Of course, the bearing isn't as tight as it needs to be. This other one will go on the other end of the threaded rod, at that other end of the bed rail, down there. And this is the little thing that'll hold a captured nut, one of the long coupler nuts, onto the underside of the carriage, kind of in here, and get screwed into the bottom of the carriage. Screwed in temporarily, at least for now. I'm going to screw it in. And everything has been measured to make sure that threaded rod will line up from this hole here, through this hole here, and into this guy at the end. So I'll put those pieces in place, put the threaded rod through, and you'll get an idea of how this is going to look. All right, so here's our threaded rod brackets kind of put in place, this kind of temporary setup. Just double nut on this side with a washer, double nut on this side, holding that in so this isn't going to move around. I theoretically should have double nuts down on this end as well. Oh, bearing keeps coming out. So there should be locking nuts down here. So I'll get them on eventually. And right now I just have a regular nut in this capture block here. And this clamp is keeping that nut from poking out. So I'm able now to actually demonstrate some movement with this mechanism. And I'll set the camera on a tripod and you can see how this moves. So the mechanism that I'm using to turn this is actually just a socket on the end of a drill, moving at slow speed. Probably just about that fast. So we'll see how this goes. So we're getting some movement out of here. One of the challenges I have, of course, is making sure that these threaded rods are straight. This has a little bit of a bend to it, so I'm gonna have to straighten it out. Yeah, and then just kind of keeping it to a slow speed. The slowest I was going there is probably about the speed that I want to go through a thick log, especially as the blades start to get dull. So I might, I think I'm going to go one step farther, and I'm going to get some sprockets to join this threaded rod to a threaded rod on the other side. It means I need to print a few more parts. I need to get some more nuts to go on that threaded rod. I think that's worth pursuing. That's a little update for today, and I'll keep you posted as I progress with this. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.